Yo.
We live. We're in it.
Hey, we live?
We alive, baby.
Hey, welcome to the CARESNONE Be Dope Podcast. Wait, hold on. Tom, you gonna press the button? I want to see you press it.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see it.
Hey.
For those who can't see, we got a timer. We got a timer.
A nice
It's
timer.
exciting.
Yeah,
a nice timer.
That's
Shout out to
original.
time clocks.
It's digital. He wants us to make sure to know when to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to the CARESNONE Be Dope Podcast. I am your host, Chris CARESNONE, with my co-host, Derek Fisher. What's up, baby?
What's going on, brother?
Man, I love you, man.
I love you more, brother. My man.
My man. There you go.
Absolutely.
We got some shit to talk about today. Tom.
Yeah, I was about to say, go ahead and introduce me
Tom in the
as
house.
also a host.
We
of the
love you.
show.
Don't you love the mug? I love the
Can we
mug.
just-
Right. Grab it.
I love you too, Tom.
Yeah. Nah, we good, man. It's exciting to be back. That hasn't been that long since
No.
since our last one here, but
This was fine.
it's coming together. So what's been up with y'all though? Let's start with that.
Man, that's you or me?
That's you.
Oh, that's you. Well, you know what? I'll start. No, you know what? You go start. You start, D.
Want me to
What you
start
been
now?
up to? Because you got a lot of shit cooking.
A lot of shit's been cooking,
So
Foxy.
cook, baby, cook.
A lot of shit's been cooked, Saucing. But mainly, man, just pretty cool maps, getting that off the ground and just kind of seeing that flourish. What I've been wanting to do, and you help me out with this, is to really get it into different markets. Because I'm at a place where I'm getting it good from Google, just naturally. People want it and whatnot. But I'm starting to put it in different markets like TikTok, and then got the Instagram shop, and I'm starting to think about spreading it in that way. And just really being comfortable and confident in that my everyday activity is now going to reflect in what my branding has been all about. So I'm really getting to hone in on like pretty cool maps and pretty cool poses, just me being a model and me really, really just being a journeyman too, being a nomad, and me being able to get on my bike and shit like that. Actually, I'm thinking like, man, I'm really just kind of relaxing, and all of my branding is starting to just be about me just living my regular life. And so I've been really cooking up with that, just kind of honing in on that mentally. I know there was a lot to kind of spill out, but also I got the massage therapy school coming up as well, starting in January. And, I got the massage chair business as well.
Yes, you do.
So I'm trying to do everything, like I was trying to say last time. I want to work. Everybody is meant to work something on this earth. We're natural workers of the earth. You know what I'm saying? I look at us like ants in a mound. We all got a job to do. So we're all looking for our jobs to do. But my thing is I love a residual aspect to everything so that I can actually not have to depend on my work financially for it. So just seeing us actually, build these systems for ourselves right now and really getting to a point like after these last 3 years of really just honing in on these concepts of ourselves and really understanding ourselves. It's been such a blessing to just sit back and now be comfortable. I see how comfortable you become with accepting a lot of things about your journey and then my journey and then Tom's journey. Like we're really starting to grow, and we're seeing that growth at the same time. So a lot of that right now, just because it's the end of the year 2023, that's been on my mind, just reflecting a lot about you guys' growth too. And
He's not lying.
just taking that all
Tom, listen, and this is the truth. I want to say, if to give you your flowers now, Derek will literally randomly call me or text me or something. It'll be 3:15 in the morning, and he'll be like, "Hey, when you get up or whatever,
hell yeah,
I got an idea for your shit."
Yeah, that is true.
I like that.
Just being a valuable human being.
Yeah, I was up the other morning at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was just like scary hours and shit. Like, man, I got a whole idea for his brand. Like,
I mean, if that ain't a sign,
like, call me when you get up. I don't know if you're up right now, but just call me when you get up. And they called you before you even called me.
if that ain't a sign of a good quality influence, of a human being, just in general, and then more importantly, a friend, I don't know what is.
When you see somebody's growth, man, you wanna make sure it's sharp too. You want to see it just.
You know what?
Just as much as yours.
I always say, you have day ones, and day ones are awesome. And I'm lucky enough to have quite a few day ones, but a lot of people don't. So like day ones are the only ones, and you were not one of my day ones, but you were my day twos. And sometimes the cool thing about a day two is those are the friends that you didn't necessarily just come up with and just like life naturally happened. We got to choose each other as opposed to growing up with.
Right.
And to me, the ones you choose, that's equally as important Because even like, for instance, you might have a day one that's really struggling, or you might have a day one that puts you in bad spots,
right?
Because y'all been friends since you were in junior high, and you're not gonna let your boy down, but your boy's doing this. He got you in trouble one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those are day ones, and you'll maybe put up with that with day ones. You probably won't put up with too much of that with day twos, but especially if you think like us, you choose good day twos,
right?
You treat them right, and the fact that you're easily one of my favorite people on this earth, and it's not even close.
Not even.
I was
close.
talking,
not even close.
Not even.
And
close.
I was telling Steve, as far as like just vibes of a person, like, I work very hard at trying to be woo-sa. I try to be as calm as I can be. I try to be as open as I can be. I try to be as free from too vicious of emotions where I'm reacting and reactionary. I'm like, man, tell me I'm lying, Tom. De'Eric's vibe game is like
De'Eric's vibe
almost unmatched.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
very
fair.
few. I'm trying to think of. First of all, just uniquely who you are. You're just such a you ass nigga, right?
Yeah.
You're so you.
I like that.
And
that's kind of how I think about myself. Yeah.
That's because so many people, including myself, and I've been chipping away at that shit. That's the whole social. That's my whole brand, and I'm chipping pretty thick.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Yeah,
you
chiseling
nice chip off.
You have.
But I wonder, like, how many people are you truly the person you want to be? And I'm like,
are you testing that for real?
Are you we all say no? I am who I am, and all this. Are you willing to prove that,
yeah.
like De'Eric has?
Yeah,
De'Eric is going to be him. Fuck what you think, and because he does it in such a like no one gives a shit for because some people I don't know. I just think your energy is just phenomenal. And I want to, real talk, shake your hand on some man shit.
I appreciate you, brother.
Keep that vibe up, and I because it's who you are. Or better question or better thing is that who you are, or is that the person you choose to be?
Mm.
And I don't
mean into 6 minutes in for Chris to drop.
Yeah, of course.
Question.
I'm gonna stomp his shit though. Are and to be, aren't they the same thing?
So the reason I would pose the question is just a thought experiment. Is people might say, man, I just am who I am. This is just who I am, right? And I get that. I've said that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But there's always a choice to do everything.
Right.
I could choose to do the things that I do, right? You could choose to call me the other night or not. Right. You chose to. Whenever you're making decisions, you chose to make them. You choose to wear your hair that way. You chose to live where you live. Right? You chose to be a nude model. So it still comes down. My point is, they are the same, but then this are kind of different. Because if I just am who I am, that almost implies that you didn't have this is who I am. Mm-hmm. It's like there's probably some truth to that, but there's also some truth that you're choosing to do some things.
So you mean nature versus nurture type of deal? Yeah.
Essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, Tom? Like.
Nature versus
when
nature.
People say that I am who I am, are they really that, or is the person that they're showing their persona?
I think they, like, as you pointed out, they go hand in hand to some degree. I think that people want to see themselves in a certain way and will do things to like achieve that, get close to that. So like, if you're like, oh, I'd like to be a better person, I'd like to have other people like me, like you'll naturally just try to be more funny and complimentary towards people and such like that. And so I mean, I think that they naturally come together. Like, I don't think there's too many 60-year-olds that like behind closed doors are like one way and in public facing things completely other. I think it's more, it's common that it's an issue or a discrepancy between younger people, but
like maturity real, almost.
Yeah, maturity.
Just like a layer of maturity in that.
Self-discovery. I mean, I think we all need a personality to look towards, though. That's part of being a human too. You're not a human with no character. We're trying to develop some type of identity, and I think for me, I just kind of always am adamant about my identity or like the things that I see, and I'm just adamant about checking those things off and just making them obtainable. I just don't like to think that anything isn't obtainable if I can't do it. Like if it's up to me to get it done, it's going to get done. That's always been one of my philosophies, even when I was little. Like, well, if it's up to me, I know it's going to get done. I may not think I may not be able to depend on you to get it done, but I know if I want to get it done, it's going to get done. So that's been the reason for a lot of my experiences throughout life. Like, I've just been able to do a lot of shit, but not necessarily with anybody. You know, I've traveled so much, so many countries on my own, but I've been to so many places, taught myself languages, like, you know what I mean? So,
listen, I do a lot of self-discovery. I can't imagine. I don't know anyone who's probably done more self-discovery than you. And here's why I'm saying that. To me, the people that give off that, like, just that total true confidence and that genuine coolness towards other people are the people who truly understand themselves. So then, like, you won't judge someone for how they are or you won't get mad. It's because you just believe in yourself. You just said it. If I say I'm gonna get it done, I'll get it done. I might not be able. So you've done the self work, and you've been forced to, or you forced yourself to, by going to different countries by yourself at a young age. Like, some people won't leave. They're scared to leave the state. Mm-hmm. And you left our country. I'm just saying. How old were you?
Like 20. I was like 23.
Wait, and saved up your money yourself?
Yeah, I was working at Barnes and Noble, picking up every shift possible.
And you took advantage
for nothing
of
an hour. Saved $10,000 for like 8 months. Like, was grinding.
When you made the decision,
I didn't get accepted to the school.
So you made the decision, I'm going to go to Brazil. And you were like, this is what I'm doing. Then your next thought was, figure out how much it is. So yeah, what was the process?
I had to keep learning the language, keep teaching myself the language. So I had this girl I was talking to online that I met on like one of the language websites. Moved that over to Skype, and then for a little razzle dazzle,
advancing, baby.
Okay. But I would go on YouTube and watch like all the old cartoons that I knew by heart, like Rugrats and Hey Arnold. I watch all that in Portuguese, listen to it in Portuguese when I was at work, all this other stuff, and I would just grind and save money and save money and save money
But you definitely had a plan to go.
No, I had a plan to go because I had a plan to go before with this graduate program, but I didn't get accepted to it. So I had to pivot. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, but I really want to do this. So I'm gonna do this and I'll see what happens. So I just focused on gaining that. And shit, I had to get my visa, a travel visa. Mm-hmm. The first time I was like planning to move out this motherfucker. I was planning on staying down there for a couple of years, but I had to actually get a certificate before I left too. I forgot about this. I had to get a TEFL certificate. I went to this school.
TEFL?
Yeah, teaching English as a foreign language. Oh, okay. So I was going to get a job down there to be a teacher. And actually, when I got down there, I got a job. But then they were like, well, you only have a travel visa, though. We need you to go back to the States and get a work visa and then come back. And I'm like, yeah, that's too much. That's $2,000, $3,000.
I only saved up for this.
Right. Like, but when I focused on, that was the most focused I had ever had to be to like get something done because it was such a pivot. And I had such a goal of like moving to Miami, going to this like Florida International is where I was going to go to. And I had such a goal of doing that. But when that stopped, I didn't know what I was going to do next. But I was like, I knew I wanted to go to fucking Brazil because I've been needing this one because that was part of the program that I was going to get into. But when I like pivoted there and just focused my mind for those like 10 months, I just moved down there, went through the trials and tribulations of finding a good place and blah, 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 but settled in. And I was like, okay, now that I'm here, when I was on the Christ the Redeemer statue and shit, I was like, now that I'm here, I feel like any part of this whole world, like I'm here for it. Like I can do this by myself. And that was something I wanted to prove. I don't know if this is something like a childhood thing, man, like with kids and their parents or something, but at some point you really want to feel like you're okay in this world without like something looking over you or some type of guidance looking over you. Like and I've always felt that, like, I don't know, maybe as a
kind of find your own groove.
Yeah, you want to make sure, like I always had this thing where like I want to make sure that I'm okay to, like, I don't need my parents at all. Not that I even really depend on them or anything like that, but I just want to be sure. And I think that's like an animalistic thing of just like growing into your shit. And I think at a certain age, I really would just want to feel that, but from the world. Like my parents didn't even experience the shit I was doing. Right. So I just wanted to be like the world. Earth was my parent. Like, I don't want to be scared of this world.
You were thinking big.
I don't want none of this shit. All of this shit, I don't want it to be new to me. I want to be aware as fuck of where all of this is. So I just dove into the world during that time, man. And
you definitely learned, you would say you obviously learned a lot about yourself.
I learned a lot about myself.
Especially in a different country.
Yeah.
And then where do you default? Like, what actions are you doing? I mean, you already made a big action by going, but then, all right, I'm here.
Yeah.
What do I do? What do I find? Where do I hang out?
Yeah.
Who am I cool with? What am I doing?
And it happens so naturally, though. What you learn is people from all over the world are doing the same exact thing you're doing.
Same shit.
They all looking for people who looking for like the new shit to do. And you mean what I learned is when you travel, as we learned when we went to Seattle that one time and we stayed in the hostel, you meet people that's like from all over these different countries and stuff, and we all looking to do the same shit around town and stuff. So you meet a lot of international crowd that way too. But that just lets you know that you're one amongst many humans, and every human has an experience, a characteristic, a country they're coming from, which means they have their own perspective. So it's like, give them grace, give everybody grace for whatever it is. So that's why Pretty Cool Maps is really important, because that's like my form of a global kind of perspective on my version of humanity and what I see. I understand we all have our cultures, and I appreciate those opinions. I appreciate those, but really, we just on this earth. Really? We all on this earth, and we all humans.
From first principles.
Yeah, first principles.
Chris, when we gonna get you out of the country, fam? No international trips from you, huh?
No, I've been out of the country.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been a few times.
Oh, okay. We made it sound like Derek was
I haven't moved
the new
for a long period.
Okay,
he stayed there for months.
Intense. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's one thing to go.
I was psychologically there, man.
But I was going to ask you too, traveling by yourself, which is that's the self-discovery part.
Yeah.
So the story is beautiful, but the part that I was trying to highlight was the fact that you left on your own at such a young age, and grown-ups won't even go on vacation without their friends or family.
Yeah, true.
So it's like, and I would imagine being that person from the jump, or you be forced into a situation, like you must have learned so much about yourself. Because I've read like people say one of the best things you can do for yourself is to go on a vacation by yourself. Because then you're forced to kind of like, have you ever gone on a vacation by yourself? And I don't count work.
Never. Not like a real vacation. No, I've always traveled with Allie, which is
same here. I've never done by myself.
It's like, it's impressive to get up and go somewhere like that. You know, like honestly, I'm like comfortable in my own skin. I feel like I could entertain myself enough, and I wouldn't feel like overly like it would be a daunting task to like go to some country by myself, I guess. But it's almost like a commitment to isolation for a little bit. Like I've never, I don't go to like dinner by myself ever either. Like it would just be a.
I was going to ask that. Have you ever gone to dinner by yourself?
Or a movie?
For a movie. So I traveled this year for work to a couple of different cities over a week, but so I was eating dinner by myself. Like I ordered food a couple times.
At the bar?
Yeah. I sat at the bar, and like, it was
gotta sit at the bar.
You know what? If you really got some exposure therapy, sit your ass at a table one top. That's kind of, but take care of the server. Don't be that guy. But yeah, one top by yourself and a four top, or because they're gonna think you're ridiculous. And that's exposure therapy, because they're gonna sit at the bar. If you're a one top, why are you taking over a four top? Again, it only works.
I did sit now thinking about it at a four top one time. Like they're definitely looking for space.
And they're like, hey, that's all we got, man.
I think I went up and I was like, it's just me today. And she's like, all right, do you want to sit here? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I think that was it. But
how did it feel when you said it's just me today?
Again, I think to me it felt weird, but like to them it was probably like, oh, cool, don't give a shit, like the same basically. Yeah. I sat at some barbecue place in Atlanta and like, just watched the TVs, and she brought a beer, like, a little bit of back and forth with the waitress, but that was it. And it's like I just ate and left, and it was fine. Like it's one of those things where it's like everything that you like think is going to be like grueling, where you're just
small little.
You get there and you're like, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. That's like my whole content strategy,
right?
And it's crazy. It's unbelievable how much no one gives a fuck. It's crazy how there's a quote, and I'm probably saying it wrong, but it said, you'll start to care less about what people think of you when you realize how seldom they do.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's
yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They don't. I mean, because most people are focused on their world.
Right.
Most people, you might do some people watching here and there, but even in that situation, you'll forget about it in 30 seconds. Because even when I've done it in the past, and I just happened to notice somebody quirky or maybe they were hot or whatever, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
So and when you realize that, so most people are worried about, when it comes to social anxiety at least, is being perceived. I would think almost more than the opinion. They don't want to be seen. They're scared to be seen. Perceived, right. So even when you're being perceived, not only are you not nearly being perceived as much as you think, But even if you are perceived, then what? And that's the part that where the scariness is because you never really, when I ask people that question, like, so what are you scared of? Or to myself, what am I scared of? And you really can't answer it with any type of logic other than, I don't know, it just feels weird. And I like, you might not.
Acceptance, probably.
Yeah, it's acceptance of yourself.
Right, as a human.
What helped me get to that was realizing they really don't think about you that much.
So it's not acceptance of the other people, it's you accepting yourself as a people amongst people.
It can't be nothing about the other person.
Right.
It's got to be fully.
So that's probably a strategy that people would think like to say. Firstly, I would think like they're not thinking about you, right? But it seems like more so it's about how you feel about yourself.
Right. 100%. That's the whole,
Okay.
And this is a little off topic, but a great segue. Me and Steve were talking about like addictions and cravings and shit like that, right? And I came to a realization, and tell me what y'all think about this. And I still think it's true to some degree. When you're running away from, when you have an addiction or a craving, something that you're like actively, you got the itch and it's becoming problematic. A lot of the times, and I would have said almost every time, is you're running away from some emotion that you don't want to feel, right? If I'm sad, maybe I'll go drink the liquor and that'll help me get over it. Or if I want to talk to this girl, but I'm scared she's gonna reject me, you don't want to feel that rejection, but the alcohol helps you get over it. So you're running from a pain, right? Solving pain points. Mm-hmm. But there's another, and I went to GPT with this, had a whole long ass therapy session with GPT. It's powerful shit. It's powerful shit. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Oh man, I almost want to though.
It's and you can.
I feel like it says like don't use it for this or something.
No, what you do? Well, it doesn't do that. But you can just tell it to talk to you as whatever person on earth. So whether it be a therapist, whether it be
you just say like talk to me like a therapist.
Yeah, or like just general therapist. What I did is I said I want you to take the top 10 world's most famous therapist.
Oh, okay.
Take all of their information, and I want you to act as one human being, and you're going to help me just talk about life.
I feel like the handful of times that I had done anything in ChatGPT and asked for like a thought, it was like, well, I don't quite do that type thing. Maybe got to work.
So it still does that, and they got these things called custom instructions when you pay for the plus version, and you can tell it to. It was actually a very powerful feature. You put instruction in how to speak to you. So like mine says, yeah, bro, hey, bro. Like mine talks. Yeah, like you can talk to you however you want. Mm-hmm. But I have, in the beginning, especially on the free joint, I do think I saw a lot more. I can't do
maybe
that.
I had to pay,
Maybe I really don't know. But right now it just answers my questions because we're just talking life.
Yeah.
But if I for instance, I put another story in there and it said to suggest to get help, but it still gave me, because I made it talk as the top.
How did it say it? I mean, in what context, is what I'd like to know at this point, because
what do you mean?
Were you like spilling your life and then it was, go get help, son. I can't help you.
You know what? So the cool thing about
I'm teasing you, but
okay, yeah, no, but it's. I think that when it comes to not to get in the GPT thing, but when it comes to GPT, one of the most powerful weapons that no one talks about is to think your thoughts out. So like, let's say you're having a thought and you're trying to work it. You get an idea. Like, what am I trying to think? And you can be like, so can you do this? And you just talk to it, and it's so intelligent. And I asked it, I said, how come you can read? Because I'm doing talk to text. I'm not typing it, right? So, and then I'll go back and read the words. And here it is. It makes no sense sometimes. The talk to text didn't hear the word that I was trying to say. I'm going back and forth, and it still understands it perfectly. Mm. And I asked it why. It says it has been trained on all the different possibilities. It's like, I'm like, damn. Anyways, but you can use it on a personal level. So if you have a thought that you're trying to, or maybe you want to have a conversation with someone, or maybe you read a book or something, help me understand. And one, I do it to see if I truly understand something.
Right.
Is this what I think? What?
Well, we got a comment.
Oh,
so we got to go to that. Well, so shout out to Bella. She says, "Hey Chris, I totally agree with you when you run to your addiction, you're running from something else."
Oh yes,
so thank you for hanging out.
Thank you. Typically, you're running away from something, right? So I went to GPT and started talking about it. Let me understand it, especially if I'm going to help people, right? GPT was like, well, There's also, definitely can be running from shit, but you can also be a person who's just addicted to looking for the pleasure. Sometimes it's not like, no, I just love the pleasure. That's a whole nother aspect of addictions and cravings that I didn't even consider. All I considered was, what am I running from? What happened when I was a kid? My mom didn't, and there's some valid reasons. A lot of my relationship with food, I can see where it began by processing the past. But some people, they're like, no, I don't really have an issue. I just really love doing this. I like the way it makes me feel. So you can just also be addicted to pleasure. But inevitably, whenever you get an overdose in pleasure, as far as psychology is concerned, it almost always ends in pain. Because you're going to keep it. Then all of a sudden, if it gets to a problem where now it's getting in the way of your life and, you're addicted to this. And
right.
So I'm going, and it was an epiphany for me because I'm like, oh, maybe, what if I have this other angle of these addictions and cravings that I didn't even think about? And then GPT threw me for man, it got me. It was like, Chris, whether or not you thinking about the past shit or you thinking about the pleasure, it's okay to reflect on that, but it's not okay to sit in that world. It's like the idea is that we can sit here and talk about the whys all day but that ain't gonna get it done.
Right.
And it's funny because in the last, since I've been going to the gym, let's get real for a second. I've been resilient in so many areas. I have not been resilient in my eating habits. Literally going to the gym every day almost, pumping hard iron, super, I benched 240 the other day. Definitely got stronger. There's all kind of things. Overcame social anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Definitely making strong moves. And then but I'm like, but why am I not beating this demon? I beat demons all day. I beat that demon before, but this time I'm working through it with GPT, right? And I'm doing all the thinking and I'm asking all the questions and I'm getting different insights and everything's profound and shit is great, right? And still nothing's getting changed. I'm still making I'm gonna start tomorrow. Like, Chris, you literally help people be resilient. So it's like, I know you got, talk to myself, I know you got it in you, but as you're doing the thing, I'm doing all this thinking. So GPT was like, don't focus so much on the whys, and let's start to bring your energy more, because you want to get there, and came up with this term called the pause. So when you're confronted with some type of trigger or some type of craving, whatever, whether it's you drove past Wendy's or something, or maybe you a certain smell, right? A lot of times for me, it was like I was on autopilot. It's like I wasn't in the moment. I'm literally thinking, damn, I wonder why I'm doing this.
Right.
Not in the moment, because if I was in the moment and if I have a desire to not do it, which I always do, because if I ate like shit the night before, the next morning I'm like, yep, didn't win that one. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to me and being open about my struggles, I still come from a place of I'm gonna figure it out. But it's like, it's been a battle.
Yeah. And you understand it's going to be a battle.
And understand it's going to be a battle. And I think the reason why it's been such a fucking battle is because I was doing too much fucking thinking. Thinking is the problem. We talk about this all the time.
We are psychotic animals, boy.
Now don't get me wrong, thinking is an instrument, right? Thinking is a powerful tool if used correctly. But sometimes our thinking gets out of fucking whack.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Right? And then we let it, then all of a sudden this thing's going crazy, and then people make drastic decisions in their life because the thinking's that fucking chaotic. Right? So don't get me wrong. Thinking can be really dope or really fucked up. But the true essence of just being is about being here in the now, no thinking. Even when you with your girl, I don't know if you're gonna get demonetized or whatever, but when you with your girl, what tends to make it better is when you're in the moment with that person. If you're thinking about some other shit, she thinking about some other shit, there's no way that's the ultimate optimal way to enjoy that with each other. You gotta be present. Now, I know we talked about this before, but I have a new understanding of what's more important. The past, if you remember, we talked about this maybe like a year and a half ago.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to overcoming overthinking, there is no, because you can't think your way out of a problem. You have to make the action in the moment for the problem. So even if you like, I'm a think about a plan, right? So you think, but until you in the moment and you decide to make the choice, it always starts in the moment. There's nothing more important than right now because there is no thing other than right now.
Right.
Everything else it literally does not exist.
Well, I'll
go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, but I want to piggyback off that and say that I feel like with, just on the concept of thinking and the value of thinking, it's like the thinking is extremely important, but like you could spend 3 years thinking about a business and like feel like you're making progress. There's like a false sense of progress that goes with thinking. You're like, I'll think on this overnight and like tomorrow I'll be ready to go. And like you feel like you're like checking a box somehow. And thinking, it's like, well, it's very needed is like the precursor to actual action. Mm-hmm. And so it's like you could spend a long time thinking and not doing so. I'm going to err on the side of ditch thinking and start acting more for people just in general. But
what they call it
analysis paralysis.
Yeah, analysis paralysis. And even if you're doing so, and that's kind of what I was feeling.
Analysis.
I'm sitting there having all these epiphanies, like, oh, that's why I look at food with this scarcity mindset, because it was literally a scarce thing in my household. Yeah. Even when it wasn't scarce, because my grandmother did well enough, it was scarce because of her habits. Is we don't waste food in this house. That's a scarcity mindset way of thinking.
Yeah.
And again, she might be watching this. This ain't no disrespect. That's the Black culture.
Yeah.
You don't waste the food, especially if you ain't had it.
Eat everything on a damn plate.
So I had this scarcity mindset, or when I was told I can't have something, like, no, you can't have that. So then it just created this like weird, like, oh, so when I get on my own, I'm going to get it. And now all of a sudden I'm putting more value in this, not to mention the food and shit is just designed to just be addictive and ridiculous. Right. So, and I'm sitting there doing all these thoughts like, oh man, what an epiphany. And for real, false sense of getting something done, but don't get me wrong. You want to reflect.
Right.
I think it's okay to be self-introspective. I'm extremely self-introspective. But like Tom said, eventually, and hopefully the sooner the better, because like you said, it can go 3, 4, 5 years before you actually do shit. You're going to have to get in the moment.
Right.
With everything you do. Because
I always get into this thing too. Like, when do you learn? I think a lot about being in the moment, at least for me, it's been about like, when do you know? I mean, when do you know you're the student, but when do you become the, I guess, teacher or the professor or the sensei of your life, because a lot of this life is about learning so much. When do you actually take the step? So I'm always impressed by people who just take it off top from young ages, just like are doers, you know what I mean? And that's such a quality, of course, that we all need, but it's always a thing to where like you always feel like maybe you don't know enough or you're still in the learning process, or it's kind of like society makes you think like you need to learn more all the time. Like you're never in control of it. You know what I mean? But I just kind of want to.
Well,
throw
I
that
would
in
say
there.
though, in my paradigm, continuous learning mixed with implementation is awesome. I'm extremely curious. I think people get annoyed how curious I am. I'm always asking, you know what I'm saying? I can't help it. This is how I feel the most comfortable. So hopefully I've surrounded myself with people that aren't bothered by the fact that I'm always going to just ponder and just question because why not? Like, what else are you going to do in this world to me in this world? So, but I don't think there's anything wrong with self-introspection whatsoever. But like you said, man, but if you don't implement, and I think the only way to implement is to be in the present moment. To make a choice, you need to be present.
Yeah. But saying you still have to have that time to be a student to things. So a lot of times we might beat ourselves up about like, am I moving and fast enough? But at that time you might be being a student. You might be soaking up things and seeing how things are played by something that you admire, or, but that's still a hard thing. It's like, am I implementing what I see or what I'm hearing right away? Or am I taking the time and just being lethargic and kind of in analysis paralysis? So that's the thing that we really, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just always trying to get my little way in.
No, we got a box in here, right?
with anything that you commit your time to, you want to be good at it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the analysis process goes into that, where it's like, I have a video company. I should be a video expert, and like, obviously at this point I am. Right. But before, and like anything new, you don't feel like an expert in it. And so yeah, you can like struggle going back and forth with like, am I ready to do this? Like, with your brands, you probably had a little bit of like, is the back end, is my website cool enough before this? Like there are a lot of people, just as a slight sidebar to entrepreneurship in general, that it's like, they'll have their small business plan. They'll have the perfect location picked out. They're like, I'd like to have this on the windows. We'll have a sign that says this. It'll be so thought out. And you're like, all right, why haven't you done it? Well, the season's just not right. Like the sun, it hits the building. It's like God damn. And plenty of people are like that where, it's like, so I hear you, but learn your shit just enough and then start going to town,
Well, I like that. But here's the sauce. The way you really gonna learn it is by fucking up.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the way I do business. It's like I just fuck up as I'm going along and just build along that line. And that's the point of business. You solve pain points. Literally. So you shouldn't have anything all planned the fuck out. Actually, I mean, you want to be as strategic as possible, but learn yourself, especially with a personal brand. Especially how we've been growing. We learning ourselves through the brand. So grow, fuck up, and correct.
Now, and then here's the next level, though. Here's the next level. And this could be a gift and the curse. I'm going to choose to look at it as a gift because it's my goddamn life.
True that.
Whether or not I make the moves I'm supposed to make or not, we talked about this a little bit in the car, whether or not I didn't get up. Tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this thing I got to do for my business. And then you get up tomorrow and you scroll TikTok for 3 hours, right? Damn, I should have done that. I know I'm fucking up. I still think I'm fucking worthy of being here. I still think I'm infinitely valuable. And the reason I know that is because you couldn't, even as the person who fucked up and didn't do what he was supposed to, I would still rather be here. There's nothing that would take me, I wouldn't take any amount of money on earth to not be here. As the person who's went up and down or who gained a bunch of weight or who didn't figure this out, and all my issues, cancer, mom, all these things I can mention, but I would still rather be here. I like being here.
Right.
Something about life feels extremely valuable to me. And I'm like, and I get to be a part of it. So if I fuck up and do the thing I'm supposed to or not, I still think I'm dope. So it don't matter what the fuck happens. Right. And here's the cool thing about that. Society might not agree with that. Society might say, no, he was doing a lot of talking, right? And here's the kicker from my paradigm. It don't matter. It don't matter what the fuck society thinks. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the only things that have, in my opinion, the only things that have any type of meaning are the things that you give meaning to. There's nothing inherently meaningful about anything until we give it.
Right.
Like, you look at this, and even the idea of Coca-Cola, like the meaning of the brand and what you know about it is we can have different meanings of it. We can, what I'm saying? So that sometimes probably does keep me from having a little bit more of a I got to wake up and fight the demon of getting up or whatever, because I'm like, I'm gonna be dope regardless.
No, but you got to give yourself grace too. I think the way I look at it is like, you're a human. You're not supposed to be a mechanical bull. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to give yourself grace, and there's gonna be times where you're just not feeling it. But that's the beauty of just like kind of being in, how do I put it? Like when you're symbiotic, when you understand it, like kind of how I understand shit, I just feel like humans, we are animals on this earth, bro. We're very symbiotic with this shit. So we have to rest. We have to give ourselves grace just as much as any other animal does, so, and we are in very much so more comfortable situations a lot of times. So the only thing is, like you said earlier, we are fucking psychotic animals. Like we're so in our heads, and this thing can really twist around in ways that has been fucking us crazy times.
It's the most powerful tool ever is the mind.
As far as we know, but like, it's crazy how we.
You don't wait. Hold on. You don't believe that, Tom?
No. I wasn't that, and I was I was looking for my other interjection, which is going to be that just on this topic, Chris. I want to give you your flowers. I know we gave Derek his, but you have. I feel like in the 2 years that I've known you, done a pretty massive transformation, and to hear that you're still struggling with a little bit of the food stuff. The fact that you have a gallon jug of water over there, I'm sure you are working out consistently because I see you in the gym. You're following what you want to do, both with the clothing company as well as with your speaking engagement. And like, you do this shit every day, and I feel like from when I met you to now, I'd like to think that you're a lot happier. And don't beat yourself up about still struggling with some of that other stuff, man. I think as good people, you always want to do better and progress and feel like you're operating at 100% and super efficient. But as Derek was saying, people are like just people, man, and it's tough. And I used to beat myself up about it a little bit more. Like, I was even 2 years ago, I was doing well enough that I wasn't like tripping so much about money and stuff, but I would still be like, I'm at home playing video games. I should be like researching stuff or, trying to do something like more productive. And the last like year, especially, I've just been like, you know what, dude, just I just want to do what I want to do and have fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And don't beat yourself up about shit like that. You can always look at your life and be like, I'm screwing up in this area, or like fall into my addictions here and there. But you've progressed a whole lot, man. And again, appreciate all that sort of stuff. And if you're going to the gym, you know, from what I understand with food and calories and shit, you can eat whatever the hell you want if you go to the gym.
Well, here's the thing. I hope I wasn't misconstrued. Like, I love 2 reasons I'm not in a shitty state is because 1, I love challenges. The fact that the food is seemingly my biggest challenge, I don't look at that as like I look at that as like a, damn, that's the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was social anxiety. Because that was one of the bosses. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're playing a video game and you work your way up and the bosses get tougher and tougher and tougher. And I thought, and here's where the mind is so interesting, because the food boss was always the boss. That's how you got to 400. It was always the final boss. But then it's like the mind gets so like you can, and it can get so strong and find a way to like overcome and like, oh, okay, he's done this. Let's do this. So it's so strong, my mind, that especially without any control over it, my biggest demon was the food, and it convinced me that the social anxiety was the biggest demon, which it was still a big one, but not my biggest. And it made that the forefront of everything, literally my brain, you know what I'm saying? All of my energy, a lot of it was going towards figuring social anxiety out. So then when I finally felt like, I'm like, damn, I actually really beat the demon. Like, you know, it was like, I wasn't even, I was taking the food demon for granted, almost as if it wasn't even there. And right in the same time frame of me overcoming social anxiety is when I felt like I had been losing more of the battles with the food.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I'm journaling every day, going to the gym, lifting weights. So all these things, and it's like your mind's, okay, damn, he's trying to get to the final ball. Throw this one at him. He can throw this at him. And I'm like, I'm beating that. But as long as I'm fighting over here, homie over there, the big boss is like, yeah, do that. But it's just growing and growing and growing because it's getting unchecked. And because I allowed myself to think that other things were the bigger priority.
Right.
And again, I don't look at that as it's just a story. And that's another reason. It's my story.
Yeah.
I would not watch a movie without some type of a challenge. I wouldn't play a video game if it didn't have the boss.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't want to do anything that there wasn't no challenge. And I know the challenges, we talk about this every damn week. Challenges is what turns that's where you get the goodness.
Right.
So you're talking about people who start the fucking business, right? And they're like, oh man, I got the whole plan, but you don't implement it. Your biggest data point is the fuck ups, especially if it hurt enough. You spend $3,000 and it was the wrong play. I bet you learned that lesson. I bet you learned. You learned. Oh, we try something else. Right. Let's pivot. So it was a $3 fuck up, and hopefully it was such a fuck up that you got so much other. You spent $3,000 and you jag, and when you ain't got it, you could probably learn a lot from that. So to me, it's like, nah. So I hope I didn't come off as if like I'm beating myself up. I'm like, I just realized that it's another chapter. Oh, this is the chapter, and then there'll be another one, right? It's life. But yeah, I'm gonna beat all my demons until the day I'm at least fight them until the day that I die.
Yeah, I think that's part of your strategy, though. As far like we was talking about in the car a little bit, with the strategy that you go with. I feel like you beating the social anxiety demon and challenging that was part of your brand growing. That's part of your. That's like you checking off something so that you probably can get closer to that real demon. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't have gotten that if you hadn't even confronted this one and even realizing that this was a front. Right.
So it had to unfold the way it did.
Exactly. So you're on the man. You can do yourself a favor.
That's why I'm not salty about the trajectory, because if I zoom out, it's crazy.
Yeah, you see it.
It's easy when, and then we all think it's like this, and you'll be going up, everything's good, and then wow, life, right? Mm-hmm. And but then if you zoom out, the trajectory was always up.
Yeah, that's why I always like to look at things from an aerial perspective, just to like get my mind to okay, let me get out of the boxing ring for a little bit and let me spread it out and see what's going on. And I kind of try to live in that space about a lot of just everything that I do.
That is a tough thing to do. And I feel like one of the things that I've been struggling with as of late is to like remove yourself from this. I feel like if I was an outsider and like could talk to me and like understand where my business was at and like went through things, I could not being part of it, be like, all right, what I would do, or what I would recommend that you do, Tom, other Tom, is like this, that, and that. But there's something about like, and I guess, but being in the boxing ring is like a good way where it's just like, you're so in the mix of things that you can't even like, and I don't want to say that's more of like a worker mindset than like a managerial mindset, but it's just like, sometimes I get so kind of wrapped up in stuff that I'm like, I don't even know like what's best for me now. Like I'd be giving advice to people and I'd be like, I should take this myself. Like I know this would be good for my own business and self, but I don't do it or put it off just because it's like, it just feels weird. So
no, I hear you.
Hey, so check this out. I have a new understanding of advice. I have a new understanding of advice, and a couple things is what I've learned. Our advice is never as good as we think it is. And how could it be? It literally can't be as good, because what you know of a problem or how to solve something, you know it from your experience. You might be able to know more about a problem, or you give them solid advice, but it can never be 100% because you're going to answer the question from your life's experiences, not theirs. So our advice is never quite as good as we think. We can give good advice, don't get me wrong. But here's why we want to maybe get a little clear on, should we be offering as much advice? And this is something different, because people ask me for advice all the time, literally. If you give someone some advice and they take it and they run with it and they do the thing, who gets the credit for that? Right? The person.
Right.
But as the person giving the advice, some people might say, well, I gave him the advice. He wouldn't have known if he didn't do it. So it just depends on how you look at it. But my point is it's wishy-washy. Hopefully you're the person, in my opinion, you give them the credit because they still had to make the moves, right? That's if you give good advice. What if you give bad advice? What if you give them the wrong thing and then something bad happens? Who takes credit for that? We're not going to take credit for that. Oh, shit. Right? Think about it. I'm not going to take, if I gave you, I guess it depends to a certain degree. Like if you're a good person and I gave you advice and you spent 10 grand on something, maybe I'd be like, all right, but probably not.
I mean, I think most people give advice, or at least I do, with like a little bit of, first of all, advice is I guess it depends who it comes from, but like most people are going to take and listen to what they want to hear out of it, and then either apply it or not, or like they're either like, yeah, I agree with your advice, and like you're just a sounding board where you just confirm their own beliefs already. Rarely I feel like can you like completely switch someone's mind, but I don't know, I don't think it hurts to give it or receive it, because again, I don't think it's gonna sway someone one direction or the other. What you were saying about bad advice, like if I was how to like get rich and shit, it's like, I think you should start a sandwich shop. Like, is that awful advice? Yes, maybe, but also maybe not. And it's like, and even if it is, it's like you're still the one to blame for it. I don't know if I'd be like, Chris told me the sandwich shop would be a success.
He advised me. That's my point. And so if you give someone some bad advice, they're not going to be like, he fucked my life up.
Yeah.
So there's that. But they don't need advice. We already know most of the answers. It's just we have things that are resistant to the things we know that we should be doing just from a being present moment. Like, I think the answers are always inside. They might be covered up in shit, like you might have a lot of layers, but I think for the most part, and listen, there's tactical things we could do and talk to this person, they know, but ultimately, as far as the decisions you need to make in your life, what direction you need to aim at, people already know what to do. And a lot of times people, at least from the people that I speak to, the people that I help, they already knew it. So what we have to do as people that are helpers is make it so that they realize that the answer is always inside of them, especially when it comes to mental shit. Now I'm speaking more mental shit. If you have a pain point, I need where do I go to get my car fixed? That's different. I'm talking about mental work.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing, psychology.
I had a recent story. I don't know if I had told you guys this, but there was a couple weeks ago, an opportunity of basically like another studio bigger than this downtown. Yeah, and I told this. Okay. But just as we're talking about it, like, it was definitely one of those things that, like, in my head, I like to think that deep down, I'll get to that. But like at the time I was like, it's a little scary. It's a lot of money. It'd be a new change. I wasn't expecting it, but like, I was just blind to, or I was seeing all of like the pros, like potential, good things and stuff like that. And then I talked to a friend that I trust, And also talking about day ones and stuff like this is a guy that's like, we've spent maybe 2 hours in person together ever, but we've just like mutually texted each other and stuff. And we're like, no, I even like friends, but like I value his opinion. And honestly, like, would consider him technically more of like a friend than like some other people. So anyway, but he gave me the advice of more or less just walking me through like, all right, what do you want to be doing? And does this align with that? And I was like, well, a little bit, but also not. And he's like, all right, well, there's that. And I attribute walking away from that deal somewhat to him. Like, obviously in hindsight, I'm like, I think the answer was in my head to begin with, and he just helped guide me to the light. But without him doing that, I don't know, maybe I would not have been so crystal clear, because I had kind of two different bits of advice, and his was good because it was grounded in like his actual experience. It's not like someone just going off the rails.
Well, if you guys had a talk and he said that was my point was, if you're helping someone, at least from what I've learned, instead of just saying, like, for instance, if I'm live streaming and someone goes, help me with this problem. I don't have enough data points of you. I can only give you very basic, and then I can't even guarantee if I tell somebody to go do exposure therapy, but they're so deathly afraid of, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I can't even assess it until I truly assess it until I sit down and for the most part listen. Most of leadership and coaching people comes down to active listening, and then you realize, especially from the podcast. I don't know if you noticed it too, Tom. I feel like over these almost 100 episodes, the listening had to improve. And now we set it up that we can now listen. I remember before when I was doing the shit, I'm sitting there trying to look at the camera, making sure the red dot's on. I'm making sure, remember I was always on the computer, so I can't even truly engage. I think I did a good job, but I'm not listening. I can't. Because even if I was listening, for instance, if someone's on a phone talking to you like this, how does it make you feel right now?
You can't hear shit.
Huh?
You can't hear shit. The phone is the worst.
Yeah, imagine that. So I'm sitting there talking to you guys, and I'm just the whole time.
I won't talk to people.
You said no. That's a game changer.
If my girlfriend's on her phone talking like a serious conversation, if we're just like, oh, what do you want to eat tonight? She's on her phone, like whatever. But like, if we're like talking, sitting there, and I'm not like on my phone or doing something, I'm like, I'm not having that. So I don't.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like when we're having, I know when you and I have, we always put our phones down.
Yeah.
But that's a huge thing that. And a lot of people say, oh, I can multitask, especially women. I can multitask. Well, first of all, it's impossible. You can task jump, but you're still dividing attention because the mind can't focus on more than one thing at once. That's a fact. So there's no way I can focus on you, like even in sight, even in there's no way I can focus on you. Even if y'all were sitting here, I can only focus on one at a time. Can't. So
I feel like the old you, just by the way, because here I am. It's like I got to make sure the cameras are going well, real sort of stuff. And then I feel like I'm like, hey, away from you guys.
You're performing.
But that's how I felt.
That's a good dynamic,
as the host.
Yeah.
But that was one of the main pain points. I'm like, I don't want to do that because I feel like I can't have a real engaged conversation. But listening, oh man, I feel like my listening skills have gotten much better. And interruption. How many times we interrupt each other?
We're all very respectful in that.
Very respectful speakers.
But you go back to some of the first episodes, especially when we was getting turned.
Yeah,
and we being silly and it was fun, but that's in life though, right? We had, how many times did we fuck up the pod and we had to record 2 pods? Imagine that. Imagine we had to record two and a half podcasts because I didn't press the button. Oh,
so man. We lit.
Yeah, but to really help someone, you almost want to here's what I wanted to say. Here's a little piece of advice. When you're listening to someone, this is actually good. If someone comes to you with a problem, this is really good from men to women, but anybody in general. If someone comes to you with a problem, you don't necessarily have to solve it in order to help them. Hear me out.
Oh, no. This sounds
a lot of times. No, I'm serious,
dude.
And I can prove this. I got some anecdotal evidence. A lot of times, people just need to be heard. I need to get some shit out. Just being heard. So what? And as a guy who's always offered advice, and a lot of people say solid advice, especially as a guy, as a problem solver, right? I tend to want to you give me a problem, I want to solve it. I can solve it. What I have learned with women, with a lot of people, when I'm learning how to be a therapist, somebody texted me the other day and was like, something happened. And the old me would have been like, well, this is how we're going to look about it. This is what we're going to do to think about these. And this time I just said, I understand and I can see why that's frustrating. And I left it because I wanted to practice this muscle of not offering advice, just listening to these people, just truly, genuinely listen. Came back and talked to that person about that conversation. And they were like, I loved it. No, seriously, they said, I didn't really want it to be so. I just wanted to vent because I was pissed off about some shit. They knew what the answer was already, but they just wanted to vent.
I resonate with this so much because that's probably the biggest conflict between me and Allie is because, she'll like, be complaining about shit or like has a problem. And then I hear it and I'm not like over the top where it's like, you got to do this. But to me, it's like, you're upset because of this that happened, and I'm always like, but you could do this, or like maybe talk to this person.
Yeah, you're
this,
problem
and like,
solving.
It's genuinely like I'm not trying to be like I know, it's not like a mansplaining thing. It's like I genuinely
because you got the
trying
answer.
to help. Yeah, and it's just like let me like ease your suffering by like giving you some shit. And I understand now just to be like, damn, that sucks. But to me, I hate that. Like if I was to like call you up and be like, Chris, like, business is really bad right now and like things aren't going well. And, I don't know, I'm gonna have to kill Colton or something like that. And you were just like, damn, that sucks. Oof. I'd be like upset.
So my not combat to that, but just my point to add on that is guys do typically get down like that.
Yeah.
If I call D with a problem, we gonna sit down and try to figure it out. That's what guys do. That's how we've built a lot of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Is men figuring shit out. But what I have learned, and no guy's ever like, damn, why'd you solve my problem? Like, I just wanted to talk to you. Women have done that to me often. But I can't help it. I can alleviate your pain point. I want to do it. I know. I've read the book on that. I know everything about that. I've experienced it. I know what you're talking about. I got all kind of evidence. I can solve the problem, and I've done it a few times. And then they were like, "You were right." But I think the best way to truly help someone, especially initially, is for them to be heard. Like as people, we want to express ourselves. We go, we got shit going on, whatever. Just want to vent. And then when I read all these books about therapy, a lot of it is them just listening.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not a big advice fest.
This is when your services come in, man. Your one-on-ones.
And the one-on-ones that I have done, I've been implementing that, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another thing, and y'all could probably prove this based on this podcast. Motherfuckers love hearing their own voice. People love themselves. And not necessarily, you might say, well, no. I get what you're saying. If you have low self-esteem, but you're still your whole life is you. And it should be like, who else is going to control you? Who else is going to make you do things, right? But people love, so if you can get them talking, if you can get them comfortable just talking, you help them just doing that,
right.
Letting them express it. Because then a lot of people feel like they got nobody to talk to. Or especially if you relate to them, like, oh man, I related to the fact that you don't even got to say shit. They just need to be heard. And again, that takes energy. So it's not easy to actively listen to someone.
No.
If you're having a conversation with somebody and all of a sudden it happened to me several times in this conversation where you're speaking and I had a good piece of something to add, not to interrupt or just, okay, I can add to that. Mm. But that's not, in my opinion, the truest form of good communication. Mm. Good communication is trying to be as present as possible to what this person is saying, getting all the information via what you're saying, via words, based on what you're saying via body language and what you're saying via your energy and spirituality, whatever. Mm. But there's a whole lot going on when you're speaking to someone. Are you listening or are you just waiting for your turn to talk?
Oh yeah, that happens a lot in conversation too.
And I know that, and then so now, and I think because I've been working on this being mindful and present and shit, I've caught myself several times today saying, who gives a fuck if it's a good thought? Listen. And then I can hop back. Mm-hmm. I can hop back. So it's getting faster.
Right.
Because then you might be like, well, now you're thinking about not thinking about it, right? That's why it takes practice. Mm-hmm. Because I also don't want to just be thinking the whole time, I got something to say. Or don't think about it, Chris. But you listen to it, and you're not true. So the idea is let it go.
Yeah.
And here's the problem and I know a lot of people who deal with communication skills, the reason why you're worried about not having something to say is because you're worried about the outcome is if you look stupid because you have nothing to say. So the reason why people would feel like I have to interrupt this person, I have to say it now, is because they don't want to seem like they don't know what the fuck they talking about. Mm-hmm. So that's why if you say something and I got a good 2 cents, I want to say it to add value, and it comes from a good place, but that's not great communication. Even if you're talking to a significant other, just listen to them. Truly understand them.
Right. Let people get their shit off.
What will it matter if you do? And this is something, and again, it's hard. Your whole life is you and your brain and your mind. You've done everything with yourself. There's this thing, I forgot what there's called. There's a whole philosophy of you can't even prove that there's no other consciousnesses. Is that how you say it? Multiple consciousnesses?
Hey, it's words today.
You know what I mean? I can't prove if Tom has a consciousness. How do I know he's not just a manifestation of my consciousness? It gets a little spiritual, but I can't prove it. Prove to me that I have a consciousness outside of me just telling you. Can't prove it though. So again, there's a whole Chris
is a whole character in himself. That was one of the tidbits that I didn't interject with this whole time, but just how expressive you are. I don't know if it's been the speaker shit. You've always been bubbly and like this, man, but just watching
so, right?
you.
I think I've always been kind of.
It is.
Well, now I think the exposure therapy shit just spawned more of my conviction when I speak. And you guys, y'all be laughing at me about the GPT shit. If I showed you my threads, unreal. Because the way I look at this shit is it's a book. It's whatever book that you create as you think it. So like if you're a book reader, which I am, instead of going and buying a specific book, I can just talk about that topic.
It's straight. It's not about the application. It's about the energy that we chuckle about. That's what it is.
And the reason why I have conviction and energy because I feel like I'm knowledgeable about what I'm talking about. The reason why I'm knowledgeable is because of the app.
Right.
So and now I got years of evidence of shit. And I got years of, and again, it only works. This is my story. You can take it or leave it. This is what has worked for me. And I feel like I'm in a better place than I was at one point. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. So that my way might not work for every single person. And that's okay. There's 8 billion of us.
I want to hear, as we wrap her up, I want to hear about 2024 for you boys. And what are the chances that we replace 1, those Crocs, and 2, we get you an iPhone?
First of all,
what do you think about that?
I was just talking to Derek in the car.
Let's talk about that.
iPhones, Apple's losing some cash right now.
Because Apple's
they got enough to lose. They got their $1 trillion company.
Just saying.
They got a lot of cash to lose.
Blockbuster was the bomb.
Yeah,
Netflix came and
you compare that to Blockbuster.
No, it's because Blockbuster was a ridiculously big company that didn't.
It was not $1 trillion company.
No, I get you that. But my point is, but they didn't convert like everyone else did. And a lot of the problems people have seen in Apple is they're not really innovating as much no more. I'm serious. I've been
reading like the anti-Apple news guru, you know.
But don't get me wrong. Hold on. Let me rephrase.
Aside, I used to be just like you. All right.
For the record, I think Apple is a phenomenal brand. Beautiful brand. They've changed shit. Apple is phenomenal.
The chat says get an iPhone.
I'm not getting an iPhone. My phone's better in every aspect. Why would I do? I literally have the best phone you can get. Is what they say. Yeah, I'm a broke boy because I can't get a fucking iPhone.
I tell you, you can't get a girlfriend with no Android. I'll tell you that much, man. But we've already talked about.
I'm so ridiculous.
Come on.
But as far as the Crocs, never.
It is ridiculous.
No, as far as the Crocs, though,
I'll get an iPhone.
How about you show everybody the little situation right now? You know, this man walked up. Look at those. They don't look that bad on camera, actually. The light's doing good stuff.
It's a little dirty. Whatever.
No, you
hey, them boys comfortable though.
I bet they are.
D, where can they find you, man?
No. I want to hear what the plans are for 2024for. So we'll go.
I thought I answered them. You said iPhone.
No, I was joking.
I literally thought that's what you meant. I'm like, I answered your questions. Get the fuck out of it. No.
Well, okay. How about we can do that for each person. So I would like in 2024 for. We'll just do meme ones, I guess, for other people, right? Yeah, it's Crocs and an iPhone for you. And Derek, if I had some meme ones, I'd like. You already have an electronic bike, right? Like an electric bike.
It's not electric.
Oh, but you like the exercise part.
I would love an electric. But
okay, so I want you to get the wrong decision. And what else would be good? I want you during one of your naked gigs to like go home with some chick.
Oh, go home with some. Okay.
That's the
To go home with
2024. Like take one of them bitches that's drawing them home.
Okay.
Oh, that's easy.
So that's
Woo!
easy.
Yeah, it just depends on how much if I want to say, come on.
I'm saying one.
Oh man, it was a crazy.
Just being titled artist or a model, or excuse me, a model. Just the title is gonna get you some play, and not to mention who you are as an individual. But then last but not least, the confidence you have to command on the stage. That is a chick magnet.
Chick magnet.
Magnet.
All right, but then I want to hear about what you guys have planned. So
you know what's funny you say that, because we were just in the car talking about goals and smart
time
goals.
of year.
Yeah, we were.
You know, it's that time of year.
And if I'm being honest, I've had that might be one of the final bosses too, is because I have very broad goals that I've kind of accomplished.
Yeah.
As far as just
that's cool
vision. But my point is in order to scale, I have to have an actual goal in order to reach it. But if I'm just so vague with what I want, then you're going to get kind of vague results. And you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to be honest, that's something I'm going to be vulnerable and admit that I need to work on more smart, targeted goals for 2024. Like specific goals that I can aim at, reach, see where I'm at, how close I am, know when to pivot, read the data. I got all this information and data. I got tons of data on my video. There's so many things I could do, but I need to get the goals and do them.
Right. All right.
But ultimately, I just want to keep growing and keep helping a bunch of people. But you see what I'm saying?
So you need to get your shit together, and that's what I do.
Right. But it's like, all right, well, let's do some other shit.
I get you.
So what about you?
Well, I want to, first of all, I want to help the person that helps so many people. I want to help you more in 2024. That's one of my goals.
I want to help.
And how we started the podcast.
I want to help you too, Chris. All right. Yeah. You let me know what I can do for you.
Yeah, I honestly, I was kind of getting to a little bit in the car.
You know what?
Fam,
I do got to wait. Help me. My next speaking engagement, it'd be nice to get
where is it?
Like what you do. To get one of those for the whole
a little video.
Yeah, like a little
or when is it?
Reel.
When is it? Tell the people when your next speaking gig is.
Right. I gotta set them up. I got a couple things coming up, but it's not for a while.
Okay.
That's all right.
Not for a while.
We talk about it.
But I got some coachings coming up. Coaching. Mm-hmm. Literally
expand
coaching
the coaching business. Yeah,
no,
I like that, man.
No, coaching
boys basketball team.
Sorry, my bad.
Coach Chris.
Chris does so much. Well, I should, dude. We were just talking about you doing these one-on-ones. I do those too. But I'm saying, I'm literally coaching bro. Yeah,
and I'm a mentor in this mentorship called the Ant-Man Foundation.
What kind of sport?
Basketball. 5th and 6th grade boys basketball.
You're gonna have a ball, and I bet you'll impact some kids because again, you're so full of life. Yeah, but you're relatable. You're not like.
I wore a wig the first practice.
Hell yeah!
I wore the hunter wig,
but
I did it for a reason.
I love that. They love that.
Yeah, it's because I said, and they were all like, "What the hell is he?" And I was saying the reason I'm doing it because there's kids on the team that one never played ball before. Right. Some people are a little bit more open and better athletes than others, and you might feel like kind of like a fool if you don't know how to dribble or something. So my whole idea is let me go in there and look like a fool, so that they wouldn't have to. Mm-hmm. Like laugh at me, but y'all good. Just laugh at me then.
That was a nice thing to do.
And I really felt like that. And then I wore the my black afro. But my point is, and I genuinely give a damn. Mm-hmm. Like I'm trying to figure, because it's more than just even the basketball, which is fun too. But I got an opportunity to really change these dudes' lives, right? Yeah. Little homies, they listen, and I got their attention. And
that's a good target.
Which is only helping me with the speaking engagements when I'm talking to that age group anyway. Mm-hmm. So it was like, I'm like, this can't do nothing but help me. And then this mentorship program it's called the Ant-Man Foundation. So I'm about to get some mentees.
Hell yeah.
Help do that. So I'm making an impact in this world.
You stack
it up. Compound it.
I got a couple connections coming up. I got some shit in the works. I got some shit coming out. I got an EPA coming out in the next few days, y'all. EPK, Electronic Press Kit. Ooh, you guys will see it when it comes out. It's dope.
That's the third handshake between you guys this show.
Hey, because we're showing a lot of love, brother. Are you jealous? We're gonna get you one. Don't worry about it. We got you.
He's always been a hater.
I'm a hater.
Actually, you know what? I've noticed a change in you too.
Do I feel like less of a hater?
Yes.
Nice, dude.
But it was never. It was never to the part where I'm like, this guy's a fucking tool. It was like, oh, he sees things so like, nah, people will fuck you. So it wasn't like I didn't think you were like this asshole, but I definitely had this energy, like a little skeptical. And you might still do, but I have noticed an incremental difference in your like a little bit more openness to
other things,
to ideas.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's work. When things get to working.
He's talking about maybe setting up a core. Like
you did say some things. You did change on those things.
That's what I'm saying, and it's dope. I think it's.
I love
awesome.
it. It's the possibility when you cross certain things off, certain other things become a possibility, and you see the reasoning why those would be implementable.
You've been good. You've been a good addition to my life, Chris.
Wonderful addition.
Thank you.
So, all right, but
we just get started. What about you?
Okay, what do I got? So, yeah, I feel like I want it. So I think I said to you that I want to do personal stuff. Like I've had a disconnect. Like I'm not huge on social media, just like as a personal choice. And I think business wise, that's kind of stupid. So like I post YouTube videos on like my business page, which I shouldn't do. So I'm trying to separate that and not like, again, be like a branding person, or I'm not gonna be selling a course or some shit.
Like
but
you're doing your own content,
just doing my own content and like seeing where that can go. And like, I just would like to be one of those people. Yeah. Like I could easily do it, so not to say like I can be popular, but like, I think it can lead to other good things. And I see so many like creators or whatever like that get great opportunities to like shoot for certain companies or do other things just because of like them, and it's like, I think of like, if this company shut down or ever sold or something like that, like I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have me associated with it.
That is true.
Like,
that is true.
You know what
That's
you got to, and I mean
it.
this, pause. You got a good face.
You really do.
I really
you got a good face for the camera, man.
Great smile, good face.
Yeah.
I really feel like you would crush, and you have. You already got videos that went viral, so I think you need definitely to go all in.
So that's on the to-do list.
Right.
I failed on that this year.
That's all right. That's all right.
But
you weren't ready for
to-do list.
He was in student mode.
Make more money. But the podcast studio. So I set a goal this year to 3x what we did last year, and we did it. So this is
3x.
Maybe I'll say some numbers off cam, but I mean it's been good, man. So that's been good. So just continuing to evolve there. Colton is going to be full time in like a week and a half.
Sure. He's got a full-time employee.
He what?
Did you hire someone else, or are you trying to?
So I'm in the works of doing that. We'll see what ends up happening. There's basically like one really big project that like if I get the job for it, like I can hire another person and it'll make sense. But if that doesn't quite pan out, then we'll see. Which should
get
be
into the employee game. I love it. Love it.
I need you, cool. Not fuck them.
And then I think the next big goal is I'd like to move out to another space at some point. So we just signed again in November for another year here, and I'm going to see what happens with the market and my money. But I'd like to buy a space because I'd like to buy though. He's ready to buy. One, it's a big dick move.
No, that's especially when you got to compensate for the other part. No, it's okay. It's too easy. He's a white guy. It's an easy joke. You can't. There's no comeback.
I'm liking this. I'm liking this.
No, real talk.
And so, moving into a space, we'll see what it looks like. But it'll be cool just to have like something that I like. This is mine, but like I don't drill shit into the walls, and like it still feels not mine, And I think it'd be cool to do that. And so we'll see. I'm not gonna like push it just to like hit that goal. Like so, if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. But that's a thing. And what else? Yeah. And so, a couple months or like 2 months ago, got engaged. So we're going to get married in 2025. So I'm not going to get married next year, but I guess plan a wedding and shit. Just buckle down, man. I feel like I'm not at that point of like trying to keep my head above water anymore. Now I'm just like, let's build a bigger boat, man. What else shit do I want on this?
Baby.
But dear,
I'll do my part.
That's wonderful.
I know you will. I know you will. That's good. What about you, man? What's happening with?
Well, I'm next year. Next year I'm still trying to get on the boat. I'm floating a little bit, but we're getting on this boat next year. Okay. I'm actually starting the year off strong though. I want to really focus on next year's gonna be fun. I get to implement a new service to my whole ecosystem in the massage therapy. So really honing in on that and it's so cool because my service of modeling is really set. It's already flowed. It's ecosystem. I have people booking me all the time on their own when I don't have to do anything. So I'm glad that's set up. Pretty Cool Maps is working on its own. And I'm trying to find something where I can do tangible with that too. But for sure, next year, massage therapy is something I'm going to really get into. That way I can provide an actual service for my models that need this type of service specifically. And a lot of other people that I'm thinking about as well. But I'm really happy to set that into my repertoire just to learn the human body a little bit more. I feel like I'm using all of these muscles and I've been using them for years now, but I don't really know what they are. And so when I take my anatomy courses and I hear the teachers talking this and that and this and that, I'm like, man, this would be so cool to just intricately understand. And I want to give myself grace and time to really just have the next year. It's going to take me about a year to finish school. And I just want to take the time to really live in that moment of really understanding my body in a way that I haven't before, and other people's bodies too. That's the wonderful thing too. Like, it ain't even about my body. It's about like I'm learning everybody else's
human body.
Yeah, like I'm learning your body, his body, her body, their body. Like I'm learning just what it means to be a human from another perspective, which is the anthropologist in me. And I'm really excited about just basking in that and crossing that and seeing what else comes of that. You know what I mean? Like I want to live in that, but I want to see what comes of that after I accomplish it. Because I'm excited for where my mind is going to go with that skill set and that expertise.
Let's go.
So that's what I'm excited about.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
And as always, cares done.